The phone rang at exactly 3 in the morning. The screen showed my mother's number, even though she had died 3 years ago. I felt a cold sweat run down my spine. I didn't answer, knowing it was some sick prank. It was probably someone trying to be funny, though the joke was in very bad taste. But the calls didn't stop. After the 10th call, I couldn't take it anymore and answered. I heard a quiet whisper, "I'm hungry." I threw the phone to the other side of the room, and it shattered into pieces. I had no doubt that I had heard my mother's voice. I had never been so scared. The next day, I decided to go to a psychologist, thinking I was going crazy. I told him everything, but he just smiled and replied, "Sir, you've come to the wrong place. You need an exorcist, not me." I got angry and ran out of the office. At that moment, I realized it was a trap. I ran out into the street and saw my mother. She was in the same dress she was buried in. Her face was pale, and her eyes were empty. She smiled at me, and her face began to slowly decay. She started walking towards me, and I knew it was the end. I ran without looking back until I reached a park. I ran into a restroom, locked the door, and sat on the floor. I heard someone slowly walking toward the door. I knew it was her, and that I couldn't hide. The door slowly opened, and I saw her face. I woke up in a cold room. It was dark and dirty. Bones lay all around me. I realized I had been kidnapped and that I wasn't alone here. I didn't know what that meant, but I was scared. I was scared for my life, and I was scared for the people who were in this room. And then I heard the same voice I had heard on the phone, "I'm hungry." I realized it wasn't a man but a woman. I saw her eyes and remembered my mother's eyes. She was here. I screamed and started pounding on the door. I screamed, "Open up. I want to go home." I couldn't believe this was happening to me. I just wanted to wake up from this nightmare. But I knew it wasn't a dream and that it was reality. I remembered how my mom used to say not to talk to strangers. But I never thought she'd be talking to the dead. I felt like I had become a victim myself. A victim of a curse. "I'm hungry." I turned my head toward the corner where the man was sitting. He was looking at me with an empty smile, his eyes as black as coal. "Don't be afraid, friend," he rasped. "She only comes for those who deserve it. This is a home for lost souls," he said. "And she is the one who devours them." I couldn't believe my ears. It sounded like madness, but I knew it was true. I could feel it. "Why am I here?" I asked. "It's your own fault," he replied. "You came to a place you shouldn't have. You came to her." I didn't know what he was talking about, but I felt he was right. I had come to my mother. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. Suddenly, a creaking sound came from the dark corner of the room. It was the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor. I felt my heart stop. I couldn't breathe. I knew this was the end. I knew I would die here. "I'm hungry," she rasped. "I want to eat." She approached me and stretched out her hand, and I saw that her claws were long and sharp. She was ready to kill me. I felt her cold, rotten breath on my face. I closed my eyes, preparing for death. But nothing happened. Few seconds passed that felt like an eternity. I dared to open one eye. She was standing right in front of me, but she wasn't looking at me. "You've only brought me one soul again," she rasped, her voice sounding like the grinding of bones. "He's not alone. He has others," he said, pointing at me. "He came on his own. Without an invitation." I looked at the man in confusion. "I brought him to you," he rasped. I screamed, but no sound came from my throat. "You thought I would let you take his soul," the voice sounded. "He is mine." I turned my head toward the voice and saw a woman. She was wearing a black robe. Her face was pale, and her eyes were as blue as the sky. She was beautiful, but I felt she was dangerous. She was exorcist. "You're not alone," she said. "You're not here for no reason. You're here to set them free." I looked at her in confusion, but she didn't explain. She just smiled, and I saw her eyes shine like stars.